But what about the actual mechanics of the token, the tokenomics? Perhaps like a dynamic supply, a burning mechanism. Has anything been talked about for you guys to update that? Is the DAO active in voting that? How does all of that work in terms of stabilizing and to maybe even help in the future deflate the token supply?
That's a really good question. And there's two things I could say about that. One is we know that inflation is like a bad word in crypto, but in every other economic environment, inflation is just a way to accommodate growth. And in modern monetary theory, inflation is just part of the system. It's like you have more people, you have a bigger economy, you need more, dollars or whatever it is. So I think inflation is a big component of the Aerodrome growth engine, and base growth engine as well. So as the token inflates, the assumption is to just create additional value for the entire ecosystem. And like TVL has gone up as emissions have come out, right? That's what's supposed to happen. Swap volumes have gone up. Number of users has gone up. So it's all part of the reason for having inflation. That being said, there is a change that the protocol will undergo after Epoch 67. And I think we just finished Epoch 56. So it's coming quickly. It's like December, I think. That's when the AERO Fed is going to kick in. And I like to say we all get to become mini JPOWs. But anybody who's a veAERO voter will essentially determine whether emissions are appropriate or need to be ratcheted up or down. This is going to be quite experimental. We have a lot of historical data we can use from the various monetary regimes. Like we just came out of the highest hiking cycle in my lifetime. So it's probably not the most representative for what we should expect going forward. And also this is DeFi, so the sample size is tiny. But in a practical sense, when you're going through a period of monetary tightening, it's probably helpful to increase emissions just to incentivize liquidity and make sure that there's enough on the DEX. So maybe that's the time that the veAERO voters would say, hey, let's bump emissions up. When liquidity is plentiful, volumes are high, and organic, traffic is there, maybe it's okay to ratchet things down a little bit. So it's definitely, I'm not an economist. We have one of our core contributors is an economist, and he's extremely sharp with this stuff. He's modeled some of it out, and it's the reason why he pushed for this kind of a mechanism to the protocol once we get to a certain period. And at the end of the day, it's we want this to work long term. We know how valuable the incentive token is to the design of the DEX. And we want to make it work for everybody as long as possible. Velodrome also has a similar, I think after Epoch 100, a Fed kick in. So it should be fun. We're all going to become the amateur federal on-chain reservists.
Yeah, for sure. I know in the news lately, there's been a lot of regulatory concerns. Yeah, it is super interesting, Jeremy. You're right. And thanks for contributing in the chat. Continue to throw questions in. We're going to be grabbing a few of these at the very end and throwing them back out at Ace. So keep contributing questions if we haven't gotten to them. We plan to get to some of them later. But, with a lot of the regulatory concerns with the SEC in the US and, there's a lot of, worry, or has been more so in the past. With that, you guys have a partnership with Coinbase. Is there anything you can share in terms of how that partnership works? How does that affect Aerodrome? Should we be excited, bullish? Should we be like, oh man, the big bad business is involved? This isn't good, right? For for us liquidity providers and investors. What can you tell us there about that relationship?
Coinbase are probably the most honest actor at the centralized regulated company level in crypto. If people call Base the Fed chain, and I would say fine, but they're also planning on moving their entire business on chain. They've been the most transparent because they have to be. They're audited by like public companies. So they're allowing anyone to build on chain. They're not censoring people. They're not censoring addresses. It's like, tell me the difference between Base and any other, L2 on Ethereum. It's like, you can do the same things. We like tongue in cheek often say like we're the unofficial Base token because Base doesn't have a token, and Aerodrome essentially is providing the economic incentives for growth. So Coinbase absolutely sees that as like value add to Base. They won't explicitly say it, but based on the amount of referrals that we get from them for new protocols, the amount of like co-incentives things we do with them, like we work with Circle on helping them increase their like native USDC, and that was also a partnership that was helped with Base. CBBTC, that launch we were very closely working with the Base team. So partner and like understanding how to help them grow. It's a very symbiotic relationship. Coinbase Ventures is a different animal. That's, where they actually make strategic investments in on-chain applications and other growing Web3 companies. They had to buy the AERO token on chain, just like everyone else. It was only the second time that Ventures ever bought a token on the secondary market. Usually they have to go out and get OTC deals. So that was a big feather in our cap, and they're very, very bullish. They're now like using their veAERO to kind of vote for their portcos and make sure there's ample liquidity for their various tokens. And yeah, I'm expecting them to be a lot more public going forward. They've kind of kept their activity under wraps, just because, I think it's the part of this market cycle. They're like, we don't want everyone to pile in here. It's like we know how fast the Base is growing and Aerodrome is growing, and we're really grateful for the help that Coinbase has provided, and we see that as probably the best ecosystem partner we could ask for.
Yeah. I'll be honest. That's when I got excited again, was when they got involved with you guys. And I know the price just skyrocketed after that, and liquidity skyrocketed, and that's when you guys really took off. So I'm excited for that partnership. And I do my swaps. I'm a lock. Is it veAERO or veAERO? How do you?
I think veAERO is just easier to say.
Less syllables, right? Yeah. But I'm a veAERO holder, locker, voter every week, and then I provide liquidity, and yeah, it's been great. So as a member of that whole ecosystem, I love this.